Hey everybody, happy Sunday to you. I thought I would add a little bit of commentary to this particular process video only because there's a few things that I did differently and it might be a little distracting to watch a bunch of subtitles go across that explain everything. So I started this Dawnstar piece in Procreate on my iPad. I haven't used Procreate a whole lot in the last year, where I used to use it quite a bit. It still has one of the best process recording video features in it. So I thought that would be a good opportunity to use it again and record the whole process of creating this Dawnstar piece. But after getting done with the rough sketch, I was having trouble really getting a good feel for the brushes for some serious inking. And it's really just a matter of not using the program that much anymore, more than anything else, because there's some amazing work being done on it, and by other people, and I've done some stuff I'm really happy with in the past. But I've gotten so used to the inks, the brushes that I have in Clip Studio Paint that I found myself struggling quite a bit getting this done in Procreate. So, at any rate, for rough sketching, it was fun to get back into Procreate and play around with it. As you can see, I started off doing this Dawnstar. I was going to do a later version of a costume, the one that Gary Frank designed for the Superman and the Legion of Superheroes storyline. But I soon got kind of bored with it. It's a nice costume. I like it a lot, and I wanted to draw it at some point. But once I started trying to sketch it out here, I was just not enjoying it as much. So I went back to some basic stuff, going back to the Mike Grell, James Sherman version of the costume. So here's where I'm trying to actually ink in Procreate, and it's just not happening for me. So after a quick bounce over to, that was Procreate, and now I'm in Clip Studio Paint. And this is on my iPad at first. Like I said, I jumped around quite a bit. So as I'm doing my inks here, I am doing this in Clip Studio Paint on my iPad Pro using my Apple Pencil. Something I hadn't noticed before until working on this Dawnstar is the fringe on her costume. The way Mike Grell designed it, it should have had fringe below her breasts going down the front of the costume. But inside the comic, James Sherman didn't draw that fringe. It's shown on the cover that way by Mike Grell. But he didn't, and I didn't really like it in the front either. So I just went ahead and kind of played around with modifying something between the two different versions of the costume. Here I'm just trying to get some of the hair textures in. I use a brush in Clip Studio Paint called Dirty Dan, and it essentially is like a dry brush. You can get the same effect using an actual brush and ink. You just have to spend time after you dip your brush into the ink. You tend to rub the excess off on paper or paper towel until you don't have too much ink left, and then you ink with that. It breaks up the flow of the ink that's on there and gives you more of a textured line. I really like it. It's kind of a cross between, digitally in this brush, it's kind of a cross between dry brush and drawing with a Conte pencil, which is a little darker than a regular pencil and a little bit chunkier in its line weight, the way it puts down on the paper. So it can end up looking a little bit more like a pencil piece. That's a little blacker than what you would get from a HB or a 2B pencil. I used eagle wings for the layout of the feathers in her wings. Of course, just modifying them, but that was the basic design I was using. Better to go in and look at some real things before you, instead of just trying to make it up completely, especially things that have structures like wings. Reference it, see what works, and then modify it for what you need. These aren't actual eagle wings, but it gave me an idea of the different layers of feathers. And here I am playing with some of the color. I'm adding this on a separate layer. Her costume colors are on one layer, her skin tones are on another layer. Eventually her wings will be on another. I don't always do that, but I do them from time to time. Just makes it a little bit easier to pick the colors out and work on them. That flash of green you saw on her wings was only a fill, just so I knew what I had filled in against a white background. Once I knew I had everything that I needed in that color green, I just converted it to white. Could have done the same thing if I'd given it a color background to start with. Then I would see what was white. So here we're just doing some of the detail work. Starting to look at some shading on her legs and on her costume. I was just going to leave it flat tones, but then I just kept going and going and going. I like the texture on her wings. It was just, again, using that same brush, but I increased the size of the brush, the radius of the brush, and then I made the particles that make up that line open up a little bit more. So when I start brushing in that area, it's just giving some more textures to it. And we're starting to finish up her skin tones, adding into her face. And then I'll start adding in the star field into the background. Seemed to fit for her. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope my rambling wasn't too annoying. And thanks again for all your support. Take care, folks.